Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American horror film from 2022, titled Room 203. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. The movie starts with a maintenance worker named Chad, who is fixing up an apartment in an old building, and while working, he notices a large hole in one of the walls. His boss shows up and startles him, sharing a story about the hole before leaving. Chad tries to patch it up, but nothing seems to work, and curious, he sticks his hand into the hole, but something inside scratches him, but also, he pulls out a necklace with a strange amulet. That night, Chad's girlfriend, Lena, arrives at the apartment, where Chad gives her the necklace and puts it around her neck. As he turns to open some beer bottles, Lena's bones start crackling unnervingly. She suddenly crushes a beer bottle with her bare hands, and something horrible happens. Chad tries to run for help but finds himself trapped in the room with her. The scene then cuts to the present, introducing us to Kim White, a young woman who is about to start college in a new city. She plans to move into a new apartment with her best friend, Izzy, an aspiring actress. However, Kim's parents don't support her decision because of Izzy's history with drugs and past overdose, and they warn Kim that they'll cut off contact if she moves in. Ignoring them, Kim meets Izzy near the building's elevator, and the two are excited about their new home. As they head up inside the elevator, they are startled by a creepy-looking man who introduces himself as Ronan, the landlord. He gives them a tour of the place and warns them to stay away from the basement. When they reach their room, the girls are fascinated by a large stained glass window that shows medieval knights fighting each other, and Ronan forbids them from touching it. Strangely, the only person who lives on their floor is Ronan, while all the other apartments are empty. Kim notices a small hole in the wall of her room, even though it's covered by wallpaper. She tries to hide it by hanging a mirror over it, but the mirror either tilts or falls to the floor every time. Despite the strange occurrence, Kim and her best friend enjoy their time together, partying and having fun, and the next day, while in Kim's room, Izzy also spots the hole. As she pokes around it, the hole grows larger, and she pulls out a necklace with an unusual amulet. Although Kim feels uneasy about the necklace, Izzy decides to keep it and puts it on. That night, Kim and Izzy go to a nearby bar with two guys, Steve and Tony. Steve takes an interest in Kim, but when she rejects him, he angrily calls her a bitch. Izzy steps in and stands up for Kim, and the group leaves the bar. Back at their apartment, while Izzy and Tony are having fun, Kim notices Ronan watching them from his room. Later, after everyone has gone to sleep, Tony heads to the fridge to grab a beer, and while staring at the large stained glass window, a shadowy figure passes behind him. Curious, he decides to investigate but finds nothing, and while in the bathroom to urinate, Tony is suddenly stabbed. Meanwhile, Kim, who is unable to sleep, wakes up and sees someone standing at the door of her room. Thinking it's Izzy, she goes to Izzy's room only to find her peacefully asleep. Kim also noticed the necklace on the floor and decides to place it on Izzy's desk before returning to bed. The next day, Kim arrives late to her college orientation, but a friendly orientation leader named Ian offers her a private tour of the campus and an introduction to the course. It is revealed that Kim is a journalism student, and she prefers traditional written and published news over online formats. Ian is also in the journalism department, and the two quickly develop an interest in each other. Meanwhile, Izzy struggles with the pressures of pursuing her dream of becoming an actress. She finds it hard to land auditions, and when she does, she faces constant rejection. Frustrated and disappointed, she turns to heavy drinking to cope. Seeing how difficult Izzy's life has become, Kim decides to write a paper for her course about her friend's experiences. Unsure whether she should ask Izzy for permission, Kim consults her professor, and the professor advised that as long as Kim doesn't reveal Izzy's identity in the work, it's not mandatory to get her consent. Over time, Kim begins to notice a persistent foul odor in her room, which she tries to drive away by burning incense. While searching through a cupboard, she also finds a heavy metal music box with the names of a couple engraved inside. One night, Kim is woken up by a strange fluttering noise and sees a crow slipping into the hole in her wall. As she approached the hole to investigate, she is startled by loud banging on her front door. When she opens it, she finds Izzy, sleepwalking and holding the music box, with blood dripping from her head. Concerned, Kim takes care of Izzy, staying by her side for the rest of the night. By the next morning, Izzy seems completely normal and doesn't remember anything about the incident. Later, Izzy confides in Kim that she met a woman named Sandy at a bar the previous night. Sandy claims to be a casting assistant and has promised Izzy an audition for a show she's working on. Kim also shares her excitement about her growing connection with Ian and expresses her interest in going on a date with him. At college, Kim opens up to Ian about Izzy's difficult past. She reveals that Izzy is still struggling with the loss of her mother, who died from a drug overdose. What makes it worse for Kim is the fact that she couldn't attend the funeral because her parents didn't approve of Izzy, and they forbid her from going. Kim blames herself for not being there for her friend during such a painful time, but Ian calms her down, and he even offers her a ride home on his bicycle. Back at the apartment, Kim noticed the landlord behaving strangely, but she brushed it off. Later that night, while Kim is on the phone, the mirror she had hung over the hole suddenly crashed to the floor, accompanied by a strange noise coming from the living room. As Kim goes to investigate the noise, she is shocked to find Izzy and Sandy making out, and surprised, she accidentally steps on one of the broken mirror shards. In the middle of the night, Kim is awakened by the sound of the music box playing again. She finds Izzy standing by the large stained glass window, holding the music box and staring at it in a trance-like state. When Kim tries to talk to her, Izzy, now appearing possessed, suddenly runs off and enters the elevator to the basement, and Kim follows her. In the basement, Kim is haunted by eerie sounds and terrifying visions as she searches for Izzy, but despite the fear gripping her, she is determined to find her friend. Eventually, she finds Izzy still sleepwalking, and when Kim closed the music box, Izzy snapped back to reality, and Kim comforts her shaken friend. The next day at college, Kim confides in Ian about Izzy's struggles, her sleepwalking habit, and the strange events happening in their apartment. Ian suggests that Kim should dig deeper into the history of the building and offers to help her investigate. That evening, Kim brings Ian to her apartment, but they discover the front door is open. As they cautiously step inside, they find Ronan standing in front of the stained glass window, staring at it intently. He harshly reprimands Kim for going into the basement the previous night and warns her never to go down there again before storming out of the room. However, Kim takes Lon around the room, showing him the stained glass mural, the hole in the wall, and the music box. Together, they research online and discover a disturbing story about a bank manager named Liam McNally, who had murdered his pregnant wife, Karen, before killing himself in their apartment, apartment 203. They realize that the names Liam and Karen are inscribed inside the music box that Izzy had been carrying around during her sleepwalking episodes. Later that night, Kim and Ian become intimate, and in Izzy's room, the audience sees her trembling violently in her bed, as if something is trying to possess her. In the middle of the night, Kim is suddenly awakened by a crow perched on the bed's iron frame. The bird flies toward her but vanishes, leaving her shaken, and Lon reassures her, telling her it was just a dream. The next day, Kim meets with Milton Briggs, the janitor who discovered the McNally murders years ago. Milton reveals a shocking detail: although Liam had chased and killed his wife, their unborn baby had survived, implying that Karen gave birth before her death. Meanwhile, Ian continues his own research on the strange images in the stained glass mural in their apartment. He discovers that the symbols are tied to Celtic pagan mythology, specifically the figure Morrigu, a deity associated with death, who often appears in the form of a crow. While all this is happening, Izzy stumbles upon Kim's academic paper, the one Kim had secretly been writing about Izzy's life and struggles. Furious, Izzy confronts Kim when she returns home, deeply hurt that her best friend would exploit her suffering for a school project without telling her, and after a heated argument, Izzy storms out of the apartment in anger. Feeling overwhelmed and frustrated, Kim tears open the hole in the wall, and to her horror, a decaying hand from a dead body falls out of the wall. Just as she recoils in fear, Ronan suddenly enters the room and abducts her. Ronan drags Kim to his own apartment and ties her up, and in a fit of rage, he reveals a shocking truth: He is the son of Liam and Karen McNally, the couple from the tragic murder-suicide. The necklace that has been bringing curses to its wearers originally belonged to his mother, Karen. Ronan explains that the cursed amulet chooses its victims through the necklace, compelling them to kill others and eventually themselves. However, Izzy had been resisting the curse, likely because of her resilience stemming from her troubled past. Fearful that Morrigu, the ancient deity tied to the curse, would come after him if she didn't get her sacrifice, Ronan has decided to take matters into his own hands. He plans to kill Kim and Izzy and present them as sacrificial offerings to Morrigu. Meanwhile, Lon leaves a voicemail for Kim, sharing what he has uncovered about the curse and the stained glass symbols. He then rushed to Kim's apartment, only to hear strange noises coming from Ronan's flat. Ignoring them, he enters Kim's apartment but finds it empty, and in his search for Kim, Lon encounters the possessed Izzy who seduce him before killing him. Back in Ronan's apartment, Ronan finish an incantation and prepare to stab Kim as part of his ritual sacrifice. However, Kim managed to fight back, and in a desperate move, she stabs Ronan in the eye with the knife. She escapes his apartment and rush back to her own. Upon entering her apartment, Kim is devastated to find Lan's lifeless body, and her horror deepens when she spots the possessed Izzy descending the stairs toward the basement. Meanwhile, the injured Ronan grabs a gun from a box and staggers after Kim. He spots her following the possessed Izzy to the basement and narrowly misses capturing her. Now in the dark basement, Kim does her best to stay hidden from Ronan. However, he catches up to her, and just as he is about to kill her, Ronan suddenly becomes possessed by Morrigu. In a horrifying twist, he turns the gun on himself and pulls the trigger, ending his life. Kim continues her search for Izzy, and when she finally finds her, Izzy shifts between her real self who asks for Kim's help, and her possessed self, who grins and laughs scarily, telling Kim to kill her. Kim refuses, unable to bring herself to harm her friend, but instead Izzy attacks her and in the struggle, she stabs Kim in the back. As Izzy prepares to finish her off, Kim rips the cursed amulet from Izzy's neck, breaking the curse, and Izzy returns to her normal self. The two friends make their way back to the apartment with the intention to destroy the cursed stained glass window. As they prepare to smash it, they are startled by hundreds of crows flying outside their window in an eerie manner. Summoning her courage, Kim grabs the dead body's hand, previously found in the wall, and hurls it through the stained glass window, shattering it. With the curse seemingly broken, Kim and Izzy flee the apartment, and Izzy rushes Kim to the hospital where she is treated for her wounds. The movie concludes as the camera moves back into the empty apartment 203 and closes in on the hole in the shattered glass window. In pitch darkness, a faint figure of Morrigu herself makes an appearance. Okay guys, that's all the recap about Room 203. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.